All right, this video is going to deal with angles of intersecting chords. I know that in our geometry classes we've already discussed about chords intersecting, but now we're going to talk about the angles rather than the chords lengths. With your intersecting chords, when two chords intersect inside a circle, a total of 4 chord angles are created. Okay. Now, chord angles made by intersecting chords are also vertical angles. Recall that vertical angles are congruent. So we take a look over here. We'll talk about the parts of intersecting chords. So we'll go ahead and relay that down here. We're going to name 2 pairs of vertical angles. So here we have angles 1, 2, 3, and 4. Vertical angles, we need to remember, only join at the vertex. Okay, so they're going to be across the vertex from each other. So here one pair is going to be angle 1 and angle 2 across the vertex from each other. And then the other pair are going to be angle 3 and 4. Now we want to name the intercepted arcs for angle 1 and 2. What this means is the arc that the angle opens up to. So the arc that angle 1 opens up to, we follow the radii, we're going to have arc AB. So angle 1 opens up to arc AB. Angle 2 will open up to arc CD. So these are the things we're going to be focusing on, those vertical angles and their arcs. That's what we're going to be putting in these formulas. Let's take a look at the formula. We're going to take the measurement of these angles. Okay, doesn't matter 1 or 2 because they're both congruent. It's going to equal the sum of both arcs, both of their arcs, divided by 2. So we're going to add both those angles' arcs together, divide by 2, and then we have the measurement of both angles 1 and angle 2. So here we're going to find x, y, and z. So here, let's solve for x first. We need to remember here that that angle x, the measurement of angle x, is going to be equal to x and its vertical angle over here. Its 2 arcs are going to be the 70 and the 30. Okay, so it doesn't matter which order, whether you do 70 plus 30 or 30 plus 70. Okay, when you're adding, it doesn't matter. We're going to take that 70 plus the 30 and divide it by 2 following this formula right here. We take 70 plus 30, we're going to get 100 divided by 2. So this becomes 100, and the measure of angle x is going to be equal to 50 degrees. Now I'm going to switch colors so that I have 2 different colors on here I can differentiate between x and y. There are 2 different ways you can find x. A chord is going to, when they intersect, you form linear pairs also, so you could just subtract from 180 right here. But instead, we're going to keep practicing this formula. So the measure of angle y is going to be equal to, here's y, here's its vertical angle. We need to find these arcs. So the 127 and the 135. So 127 plus the 133. All divided by 2. Okay, we can add these 2 together if we want to at first, and we're going to wind up with 260 and then divide by 2, or we can do this all in one step. The measure of angle y is going to be equal to 130 degrees. When we take a look at example number 2, we're going to work backwards. Notice that we have the angle. Okay, so we have the measure of the chord angle. We're going to have to work backwards, finding one of these arcs. So what we're looking for here is we're going to find arc IL. So in our formula, we're going to go ahead and have the angle measure on the left-hand side. It will be equal to your arc of x plus your arc of 110 over 2. You can set this up a proportion and cross multiply, or we can just get rid of the 2 in the denominator by multiplying both sides. Either way should get you the same answer. These cancel, and all you have on the right is x plus 110. On the left, we now have 160. So now we just subtract that 110 from both sides, and our x is equal to 50. So that will be that arc measurement. All right, let's keep looking at different examples here. We're going to look at another one just like that. We have the angle measurement, so we're going to need to work backwards. So we set that 128 equal to arc, I just like putting the x first, x plus the other arc over here, 154, all divided by 2. So like we did in the last one, let's get rid of that 2 in the denominator first. Multiplying to cancel. We're going to wind up with 128 times 2 is 256. This will be equal to x plus the 154. Just bring this down, bring that numerator down. Then we just subtract. Cancels on the right. We do the subtraction on the left. This will end up being 102. It's going to be what x is equal to. Okay? Now, in order to find here, we're taking a look at this one. We're going to solve for x using a linear pair. So what that means is we're going to go ahead and we're going to find this angle. Okay, let's label it y. We want to use a linear pair, meaning two angles adjacent on adjacent on a line. So we're going to use it 180 degrees. Now, we need to note here that arc QS and arc TR do not belong to x. They belong to our new y here. So let's solve for y first. Y will be adding the two arcs together, so the 75 plus the 55, and dividing by 2. If we plug this all into the calculator at once, okay, we're going to end up with 65. That is y. So if this is 65, we need to use this linear pair to solve for x. A linear pair, they are supplementary, 180. So we simply subtract the 65 from the 180, and we're going to get that x is equal to 115. Okay, so we have to use a couple different techniques there. On the next one, we are going to solve for x, and we're going to be using, and these do need to be changed on mine. They do not need to be changed on yours, so I'm going to pause it and change these real quick. All right, so we're going to use arc UW right here, and we're going to use arc VX over here to solve for x. So on this problem, what we need to do here is we need to figure out what the measurement of arc VX is, because we already have our missing number at the angle, so we need to figure out what we're adding to 92. So if you notice, we have all the other three arcs here. So if we add these up, we take away the 75 degree, the 92 degrees, and the 55 pieces of pie or pieces of pizza away from this whole 360. It's the way I reference it. We're going to take these away from 360 and figure out what's left over for arc XV or VX, whichever one. So we need to add all three of these together. So we have our 75 plus our 92 plus 55. We add all these together, we're going to get 222. That's what the other three arcs together are. Then we take that 222 and we're going to subtract it from the entire 360. So what's left over? 138. So this guy right here will be 138 for the arc. So now we could take 92 plus 138 and divide by 2. So your x is equal to 92 plus the 138 that we found, all divided by 2. And we plug this into the calculator, beep, boop, bop, we're going to come up with 115. That would be that degree measurement. Okay? All right, so we have two more. Now we're going to bring in a bunch of algebra here. We are still solving for x, and we're still adding the two arcs together to equal that angle. Okay, and divide by 2, and then equal the angle. So let's set this up. The angle, 70, is equal to arc 1, 60, plus arc 2, 12x plus 20. Okay, so we have both those arcs, add together, all divided by 2. In one step, I'm going to rewrite this with, we'll go one step at a time. Let's go ahead and combine our like terms here. We're going to wind up with 70 equals 60 plus 20. We're going to have this 12x plus 80 over 2. Don't forget this over 2. We haven't gotten rid of it yet. Now we're going to do exactly what we did up here. Okay, that's where we're at now. Multiply each side by 2. So these cancel. I'm going to bring my work up here now. So 2 times 70 gives me 140. This will be equal to, all I have left over here is the 12x plus 80. We're going to go through our steps. I'm going fast, so please pause it if you need to. Solve for x on your own. Okay, we subtract that 80. We're going to end up with 60 equals 12x. And then we divide. And x is going to equal 5. Okay, so once we got up to this point right here, 140 equals 12x plus 80, all we're doing is our generic solving for x. All right, the last one, we're going to have the same situation, okay, where we're going to have 2 arcs. We're going to add them together and set them equal to this angle. So we're going to have 115 is equal to one of the arcs, 7x plus 12, plus the other arc, 3x minus 2, all over 2. So when we combine our like terms, we end up with 115 equals. We have 7x's plus a 3x, giving us 10x. And then we have a positive 12 minus a 2, giving us a positive 10. All still over that 2. Okay, all we did was take care of cleaning up that numerator. We multiply both sides by that 2 like we've discussed on several problems now. And this 115 multiplied by 2 is going to give us 230 equals, okay, the denominator is gone. All we have left on the right-hand side is going to be the 10x plus 10. Now we just have simple solving for x. Get rid of the 10, the plus 10, then get rid of the 10x. So here, subtract that 10. We end up with 220 equals the 10x. And then we divide by that coefficient. X is going to equal 22. Okay, please research other videos if you need to on angles of intersecting chords, or ask your teacher if you have any questions.